Hello and welcome to Wandering Monster, America's test table, where we don't playtest games. No, we stress test them. Uh, Many things are being stress tested this fine evening. My heart, Ian's sanity, Charles' patience, and that goes for both Charles. Charles Z, Charles I. I don't know what is the Latin for Charles.
Charles
Is it Chuck?
Cease.
A gaggle of
Anyway,
chucks.
a gurgle of Chucks, if you know
Ooh,
what
I
I'm
like
saying.
that.
Three Chucks is also a murder. Just throwing that
Because
out
there can
there.
only be two.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Those of you who follow my career, first of all, thank you, and maybe go seek therapy. But
I was a therapist.
seek a therapist other than Ian, because he doesn't practice anymore. Like that'd
Yeah.
be real weird of you to show up at his work and start bitching at him. Unless you're his boss, then leave the poor guy alone.
Give him a
Anyway.
raise.
If you've followed my career, you know that my very first book to ever hit shelves has been discontinued. It is now currently out of print. What you may or may not know is that book, The Configuration Discordant, was a collection of poetry, horror poetry, written in 75 different styles from around the world, over 100 poems. I'm very proud of it still to this day. A lot of times when I would bring this big tomb of poetry to people's attention, the response would be like, horror poetry. Well, I've never heard of such a thing. Have you not? Really? Have you? And then I would say, as I can already see Charles is aware of, I would say, have you never heard of Edgar Allan Poe? At which point the person would like their jaw would kind of hang loose and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I guess I have heard of horror poetry before." Um Poe exists as this strange non-contemporary to a lot of shit I like to read, namely like Robert Howard, H.P. Lovecraft, Ashton Clark Smith, all those like 1930s pulp authors that I love so much. Poe was not a 1930s pulp author, but he kind of inhabits this space as a forefather for that kind of literature in a really cool way.
If I may,
It's
a lot of like the 20s, 30s pulp literature was in some way or another a response to Poe. In fact, one of Lovecraft's earliest long form pieces was a mostly terrible piece called The Poet's Lament, like POE-ET.
it's just
But
bad.
that's
It's just
where
bad, Howard.
yeah, that's where omnia nihil omnia pulvis omnia rhesus comes from, which is like everything is nothing, everything's dust, everything is a laugh.
So we
To
should just eat Reese's Pieces.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
Anyway, yeah.
so I say all that to say that like Poe is, love him or hate him, Poe has been a huge influence on American literature and modern horror as a whole globally. So tonight we are paying respect to at the very least Charles and I's literary forefather, or forebearer. Like forefather sounds weird, like the one who came before us, um Edgar Allan Poe, with a game called Nevermore, which has a bitch and raven on it, and that's about all I personally know. So I'm gonna let Ian take it from here. Oh, I will say before I give the floor to Ian, Ian told us we are not allowed to roll dice tonight. Instead, we are playing with cards. I have brought my HP Lovecraft inspired deck that I kickstarted. Charles, would you mind showing me your deck?
Why, I happen to have a limited edition Madness Heart Press deck, as a matter of fact.
Gifted from the amazing Matt Henshaw.
The one and only Matt Henshaw.
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't care about Ian or Patchky's decks. I just
No. We're
I
gonna no.
wanna
The
see
whole
him.
class is gonna do show and tell because I cracked out and I broke the seal on a
Ooh,
pack of vintage 1984 Hoyle dog cards. It was like a
That's
two
oh, that's
card
fun.
set, which is pretty cool because which is fun because this whole game has a lot to deal with what color your suit is and certain implications. So I've got the red and I've got the black. So I'm pretty
Oh,
excited, dog. So
that's
yeah,
pretty
I'll
cute.
keep this still in its shrink wrap for next time we play a game that needs cards. So
Nice.
I did Google before we started this to make sure I wasn't like opening like an $1,000 pack of like cards on eBay because I thought, what would the odds be that
I
but
bought
no.
2 decks of these, and the other deck is on my shelf because it's signed by the artist.
Mr. Paschke, what are you bringing for show and tell
I
today?
I cracked open this Star Wars: The Force Awakens deck
we're all
of cards, but it came with an extra Joker card, so I have 3
3?
Joker cards, which
Whoa.
means my deck is bigger than yours.
No, he has a point. I will say it sounds like all 4 of us are pretty cool dudes.
But only
That
one
is
of us has the
debatable.
biggest deck, and
That's
it
true.
is
I
it is
see your
Paschke, just
deck
a
is
big,
nearly as big as mine.
big swinging deck.
All that extra 1 card.
Yeah,
Hey, it's the girth that counts, baby.
that's right.
To preface our playthrough, we have to give a big thank you to the author Ian Lemke, who is also the creator of Changing the Dreaming and a bunch of other neat games. This game is going to be kickstarting really soon. So October 4th, if you haven't already signed up to get the Kickstarter notification, we've put links in all of our socials for you to find that. So the quick start rules are free for you to get right now off of DriveThruRPG if you want to get a sneak peek. It is a pretty robust system using cards, so it's pretty neat. So our first time playing something other than dice, so I'm really excited to see how that goes.
This should be cool.
Since there are a little bit more in-depth rules, instead of kind of giving the full rundown of the rules, we'll be kind of doing it in media res. So when one of these mechanisms come up, that's one we'll really kind of pause for a second, talk a little bit more. But the core mechanism for whenever checks are made, that'll be worth mentioning, is that the target stat or hardening or other things that will be checked will have a value anywhere from 1 to 13 hypothetically, and will be associated with a card suit. So if a check needs to be made, you'll be drawing so many cards based on whatever the conditions are, and you either need to meet that score value or lower, or you need to meet the suit, or in some rare cases, just the color. But we will get into that further. So feel free, if you're listening to this later, to pause, get your favorite deck of cards, and play along. So to start the kind of as a quick preface, we had a great little run over there about American Gothic horror. If you're not familiar with American Gothic horror, we're coming up on spooky season, so do take time to read some of the classic authors.
It is
Poe,
spooky season.
Hawthorne.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Shut your filthy mouth. It
What?
is spooky season.
I mean, spooky season is 24/7, but
That is correct.
Look,
you know.
Christmas started this, but now spooky season is all of October and September.
We can
Go
say
with
as soon as the spirit of Halloween unlocks its front door, it is spooky season. Damn it!
it is
Now,
it's pumpkin spice
love,
season.
I love Halloween as much as the next fellow. However, I don't believe in the creeping of holidays. So I actually had to adjudicate this on Twitter today. Someone asked like, what is the correct time to, change your avatar and name for Halloween? And I had to think about it for a minute, and I was like, I think I'll do mine on October 1st.
Yeah.
And it'll be gone on November 1st. I give it a full 31 days.
Slacker.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, but Halloween is the only holiday. Halloween is the only non-religious holiday I care about.
It is the most wonderful time of the year.
Holiday that I don't religiously celebrate that I care about. Let me put it that way, because I know that some people do celebrate Halloween and various holidays around Halloween religiously, and I do, of course, respect your faith.
Sure. I believe that a lot of Satanists view it as, I personally don't commemorate any of the, so-called satanic holidays because Holiday literally means holy day, dumbasses. But I love Halloween for what it is, which is a night for like spooky badass shit and the morbid and the macabre and everything I love, much like this game in some ways.
Does it make you laugh as hard as it makes me laugh when British people say they're going on holiday for that reason?
I mean, what about Labor Day being a holiday?
I mean, Labor Day I respect as a holy day.
I
Like,
mean,
people fall for
I'm
a
just
right not
talking
to
about
work
the
ourselves
I'm
to
talking about
death.
the etymological roots of the word.
I know I'm
yeah.
being facetious.
Yeah, and
I'm saying any person who died for a union, aren't they in a way a saint?
a
Yeah.
martyr. For
Yeah, I
sure,
know. As soon as I
for
said, but
sure.
it's like I
yeah.
couldn't say like Memorial Day because then you get into
Ian,
reverence
are
of
you a filthy
memorials.
capitalist?
No, I no.
Look at the bourgeoisie over there, sitting in his basement.
Oh, rich Ian.
Yeah.
Billionaire Ian who we're going to eat.
Well,
Sitting there with his diamond-plated headphones, and
my
His
$15
gold-
Logitechs after the fancy headphones I bought didn't work with this
Yeah.
his
computer.
sapphire-studded cat.
Sapphire-studded cat, exactly.
You
So
can't fool us. That's one of those Mark Zuckerberg $700 t-shirts, isn't it?
as a human, I enjoy barbecue and barbecue sauce on my barbecue.
Oh, what are
Um,
we? Are we playing a game or something? I
Well,
don't know
I'm
what's
I'm
happening.
I'm trying I'm
Yeah.
trying to preface. I was going to give a rundown about Gothic American horror, but we're talking about American horror here with capitalism in general, which
True.
may or may not have a role in tonight's story. So,
Yeah.
as we are running short on time, I'll cut my intro, and instead, well, I feel like it's relevant. Real quick for people who aren't familiar with the setting, we're gonna be basically late 1800s, early 1900s for the how the setting is. Current president is Grover Cleveland. Current Queen Victoria. So there are a lot of parallels between modern Earth and this fictitious Earth. The major difference is the presence of the Aether, which is the otherworldly dimension that is in peril to this world. It has incursions, almost breeding like a cancer over the face of the world. If it's not maintained and squelched, then it spreads, opening portals to other worlds, causing there to be ghosts, causing there to be weird, miraculous, supernatural stuff. So it rocks the apple cart. Too much of the ether, the world goes amok and awry. Too little of it, and then the world is sterile. So a balance needs to be maintained. And so all the players are members of the esoteric order of the Luminous and belong to one of 7 cabals that gives them some type of skill set that helps them to control or to eliminate the ether and the creatures that come out of it. And so with that kind of a little brief introduction, I will allow our 3 heroic characters here to talk about a little bit about their character, what cabal they're from, so what makes that cabal special, or what their abilities are, and just some fun facts to get to know you.
All right. I will start. Tonight I will be playing Tuanyan Lin, which you can just call me Lin. My cabal is the Etheric Engineers. Also, pursuant to that, I am a member of the American Society of Engineers. And as you can probably tell from both of those things, I am a tinkerer, a lover of machinery, a clock fixer, a clock maker, a clockwork enthusiast. I live on a country house with some farmland attached to it, but all of the farm animals and farm laborers are clockwork mechanisms. And I love nothing more than to sit on my back porch and watch my beautiful little clockwork empire run itself. So there you go.
I am Leon Williams. I am a scholar of Mu. I am basically an assistant to my grandmother Cassandra Williams, who is a hoodoo priestess, and yeah, I'm a researcher and kind of a mystic, but mostly I like to read and study shit.
Fantastic. And last but not least,
Guten Tagen. Ivan the Great Wagner is my name. I am German immigrant to United States, upper
Mhm.
middle class. I view myself somewhat of an entertainer. You know, I'm a very entertaining person to meet and greet. And my character actually also has a mustache, which made me very happy because, you know, handsome guy. His cabal is my dyslexic brain decides that I can't pronounce that now, even though I said it like an hour ago before we got on here.
like
That's
a
great.
theurgist
Thank you. That word.
or
Word.
theurgist, there's different.
That's
I've heard
not a
both
normal
ways.
word. That's not the dyslexia. That's you like trying to read a word and be like, "That's not fucking English."
That's when my speech impediment comes out. I'm like,
But yeah,
Theurgist. Yeah, that would be tough.
theurgist. Theurgist?
Sea urchin. You're a sea urchin.
you're a
I am
sea
a sea urchin. I
Explains
immigrated
the-
from under the ocean, put on
Yes.
mustache, got
Yeah.
the standard aquatic
Oh,
accent that
this
you
is the
get.
underwater accent, yeah.
And so, are we to call you Ivan or the Great?
You know, you may call me Ivan, but everyone else calls me the Great only because we are friends. May you call me Ivan.
Wonderful. All right. And John, you said your character's first name is
It's Leon.
Leon.
Leon
Thank you.
Leon, what's your last name?
Williams.
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 William.
All right. So let us set the scene. For tonight, we are going to be playing the adventure out of the Quick Start rules called A Winter's Tale. So we'll snap to your lodge. So all of the player characters have a lodge that's their base of operations that provides them with all the equipments that they need to launch out and go on their various expeditions. And it just so happens that the three of you have been in cahoots for some time, being members of the Esoteric Order of the Illuminists. Your lodge itself is in a thinking about your background, some of you being a lot of you having maybe a well, I guess the traditional American experience that you are from other places and you're here. What type of neighborhood do you think your lodge would be? Do you think that you would be upper class, lower class, or
Lower class, absolutely for us.
Well, I am upper middle.
Yeah,
all
and
right?
my stats actually specified that I'm middle class as well, or like a landowner.
I just didn't know.
Mine is working class,
Yeah,
but I
I was
also own
a
land.
I was a
Or my
skilled
family does.
immigrant as an engineer, so I think I probably, plus in the Victorian area, I don't know. Anyway,
Well, we can
Let's-
sideline that. In my head, I always like to think about like, do you want to be the obvious, have it like out there in the front, like you are of this lodge for order, or if you like to embrace the more esoteric and hidden path and kind of have it this off the way thing.
oh,
So
probably the latter. We'd probably have some sort of like gentleman's club as a front, or not gentleman's club, but like private club. Like
Well, no, like
an explorers club or like an adventure club of some kind, like
I
traveling all
like
over the
that.
world and as a cover.
So the lodge, as far as a little bit of the assets that you have access to, the beginning of this adventure, you do actually have enough station that you have your own. They're kind of assistants in the way, filling the role of a butler and kind of like a house maiden. But you do have a set of assistants that help run your secret lodge. Um, you have it's married couple, Mr. Reginald Pendleton, who acts as your butler and driver, and Miss Irene Pendleton, who acts as maid and cook. But since you said Adventurous Club, I'm going to imagine that your walls have all kinds of esoteric trophies from the missions that you and your cohort have done, hung, ectoplasm residue on the wall. I don't know. I say you can't have like a
It's not
ghost
like
mount.
buffalo heads. It's like the human head off of a centaur and stuff like that.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
centaur head on the wall.
Fantastic.
Is that a human head you guys have up there? No, that's a centaur. Don't worry.
centaurs are not sentient like humans. They are inferior species. I'm gonna
They have
stop
6
right now
levels,
before
bro.
that
I
accent
hate
and
this.
that train of thought goes any
Mhm.
further. I apologize to the world.
Thank you.
Truly embracing the Victorian era. So let's set the scene. 3 days ago, you received a call from Mr. Fry. Hold on, let me take a step back here and let me rewind that and get my notes here. It is 10 a.m. on on February 2nd, 1888, and a winter gale is blowing outside, rattling the windows and howling in the eaves. You had an appointment with Mr. Curtis Fry, Mr. Curtis and Daphne Fry for 10 a.m., but so far no one has arrived. Though certainly a little lateness can be forgiven, given the violent snowstorm raging across the city. Still, when a client is late, it often bodes ill and it has you all on edge. So as you're sitting in your comfortable lodge, you have had tea brought to you, multiple times by the Pendletons as they're tending to your needs, and all of you are sitting around waiting by, let's say, the fire. The anxiety of the situation grows because you haven't been given any exact information about why you have this appointment, but you know that whenever anyone has an appointment with your lodge, it means usually there's something afoot, something supernatural and bad, and your sense of unease grows. You kind of get the witch prickles on the back of your hands, and you're sitting there listening to the clock tick agonizingly loud in here. How do you bide your time as you were waiting for your client?
I have a habit that some people say is annoying. I have my boots up on like a little ottoman in front of me, and a sextet of little clockwork men are like busily polishing my boots. And as they do that, I have a little tiny brush and I'm polishing each of their little boots, like their metal boots. So they polish my boots. I'm polishing all of their little bitty boots. A lot of boot polishing going on.
The great cycle continues.
It does. It just goes on and on.
What about the other of you? How do you manage your anxiety and stress in a situation like this?
The guys and schnapps.
Schnapps. And what was that? Were you saying, Leon? Your
Shuffling my tarot deck.
sounds good. You feel the skeins of fate stretch just a bit every time you shuffle. You keep seeing the ruin card over and over again, and sometimes death. But once you do a spread, you can feel everything kind of go back to that morass of equal representation of the
When
cards.
uh, I may not be up on my tarot. Is there? When you say ruin, do you mean
I
like
mean,
the
the
tower?
tower.
Okay, cool. I was like, is there ruin? Oh,
Well, tower usually means ruin.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it totally does. I just
Correct.
my brain
No,
did a
you're.
punch to myself.
I almost wore
Um,
my Tower Tarot shirt tonight too. So funny enough. Um, so as you are waiting and your tea is growing cold, the schnapps, of course, are constantly flowing from Ivan. And true to their name, the schnapps are always great. Um, 3 days ago, you received a call from Mr. Fry, and after a bit of hemming and hawing, he admitted that colleagues of his had recommended he contact your order, and that you're skilled with dealing with circumstances such as what he is experiencing. It quickly became clear that Mr. Fry was uncomfortable with speaking openly about the supernatural on the phone. After a brief back and forth, he decided that he and his wife would meet with you at the lodge on Thursday the 2nd at 10 a.m. After a brief inquiry, you discovered that Mr. Fry was the Curtis Fry, Esquire, the second African American to be admitted to the Maryland State Bar Association. Suddenly, there is a rapping on the door. It sounds as if whoever is outside has the temerity to forego the door knocker and rap on the door with a cane. Your butler, Pendleton, quickly opens the door to reveal Mr. and Mrs. Fry standing on the doorstep, shaking snow from themselves. Curtis Fry is an African American gentleman of medium height with a receding hairline and a beard and mustache speckled with gray. He is wearing a very fine suit and gold spectacles. Daphne Fry is an African American woman wearing an intricately embroidered gray dress accented with fine jewelry. She appears to be 4 to 5 months pregnant. Mr. Fry begins muttering an apology about using a stick on the door and says something about his cane being frozen to his glove. As he lifts his gloved hands and opens his fingers, showing it is indeed frozen in place. After Mr. Pendleton takes their coats, he thanks you for being able to meet them, despite the inclement weather. Mrs. Pendleton, of course, to her nature, comes out with tea in hand for your guests. So they are behind schedule. You've been left here waiting. Uh, how do you approach the subject of the business matter that has not yet been discussed?
Should we offer them laudanum?
No, 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 no. I would never touch this stuff. I've seen enough of what that does to people, the war, and all the crimes it brings. No, not the stuff. But I do smell schnapps.
Yeah, would you like some schnapps? I have plenty. I have numerous bottles of different varietals. I have some anise. It's delicious. Tastes like licorice.
Uh, he licks his lips and is about to say something when Daphne turns and gives him a very hard look. No, no, tea is fine.
Right, tea. Pour schnapps into tea glass.
Yeah.
He gives you this very knowing side look as you do that. Waits for Daphne to look aside and then just nods a little bit. Pushes his cup over.
I think he just won us some points.
He sees a little bit of snow that's stuck in his trouser and scrapes it off into the floor, and he goes, "Well, I suppose I shouldn't be keeping you gentlemen waiting for too much longer. Apologies all around. It's dreadful out there. You see the coming with my success with the appointment to the bar, Mrs. and I expecting our first, we decided that we should get a larger house to reflect our new status and our family to be. Um, but as you'd know, houses in the greater Baltimore city region are quite expensive and out of our reach. So I went and bought a property a little bit more affordable, and it has been a bit of a problem. Y- y- This was all of my fellow attorney, Mr. Hans Gromit, Esquire. This was his idea. He let me know that there was a property available for cheap, the former Winters estate, just west of the city proper. Are any of you familiar with the Winters Manor?
Are we familiar with the Winter's Manor?
Um, it probably not. If any of you would like to make the first check for the evening,
Why
um,
not?
well, I was going to say, hope your deck
How,
is.
do you want a history, mysteries?
So we will start off with history. If anyone wants to make this, so with your check, if you would like to make one, you can. So there are a couple different options on how you can approach this. If you don't have any points in your character sheet designated by the little triangle, it's considered to be an untrained skill. In that case, you would draw 2 cards and you would pick the least valuable card out of that and then see if that passes your check.
I have
um,
2.
so for you, looking at yours, so that your if you do that, you would draw 2 cards off the deck, and you're trying to get 8 or lower on your card face or a spade.
So I got a 2 of diamonds,
And
and a 9.
okay,
But
what was the suit on the 9?
hearts.
Okay, so you have 1 success. So you know that there was some type of scandal that had happened. Knowing just a little bit of a cursory history, there was some type of embezzlement or money laundering, probably embezzlement that happened, and some type of bad crime, and the manor was abandoned and has been sitting derelict for quite some time. You
Do
know
I
that
discard these or put them on the bottom of my
you
deck?
discard them once you've gone through all of your cards. Then you'll reshuffle, unless you spend a point of fortune, and then you can reshuffle your deck. So you
Okay.
can make sure you keep your good cards in cycle. So you know just a little bit about this being a manner of it's been sitting derelict for a fistful of years, and bad things just seem to kind of happen around it. Um, so you've got an inkling that something is
Okay.
afoot with this place. Um,
Yeah, I'm familiar with the place.
um, he goes, "Oh, so the reputation precedes it. I didn't really know much about it myself. I just bought the house blind, sight unseen. Um,
Well, that's never a good move, sir.
no, the house needed tons of repairs. It's been vacant for a decade. The price was great, but when I hired a contracting firm, the workers just couldn't keep up with the repairs. Things kept falling apart as fast as they would repair them, and they originally said the rehab would take 3 to 4 months, and they haven't even done half of the repairs. In fact, one day they just quit the project altogether and they refused to work. When I tried to get my deposit back, the foreman, Mr. Green, just laughed at me and hung up the phone on me, and I haven't heard from him since. Um, my Daphne here says that she spoke with Mr. Green's wife, and she said that all the workers were spooked by spirits and all kinds of bad omens. And one of them even said that they saw an evil spirit leering through the house, wailing and throwing things. Um,
Yeah, maybe some more research into the property and not buying it sight unseen would have helped with that. But I suppose it's too late now. What exactly is it you are hoping that we are going to accomplish, sir?
Well, I've invested a lot of my resources into this property, and I would like to see it fit for my family. And I thought people of your talents could help to, uh, how would you say it, get rid of ghosts, investigate to make sure this isn't an embezzlement crime of my funds. That this Mr. Green is, I will persecute him if he is. If this is a fraud case, that wouldn't be a problem. But if this is actually something supernatural, then I'm plumb out of knowing how to handle this.
Well, I feel there are certain judges who would expect a contractor to know how to deal with a minor haunting. Um, right? Like if magic is commonplace enough that like there's got to be laws on the books to deal with such a thing.
The law and society are two divergent things, as you're well aware. You, I, well, are you actually asking if there's laws?
No, I'm talking to
Okay,
you, Ian.
I was gonna say, that is a very good question, and there
And
may
maybe
be something in insurance, but
okay.
probably not. I don't
No, I
think
think
that
that's called begging the question. I think that the whole point of an organization like ours is to investigate exactly this kind of thing to make sure that it's not an incipient demonic invasion or
Mm,
breakdown of a god form
okay.
or something
Okay.
like that. So,
Understand, Mr. Fry, we are no dime store exorcist who seek to steal your money from out under you by claiming there's ghosts when there are none. However, we're also not high-end exorcists who hunt ghosts. What we are, sir, is we are a group of practiced individuals who deal with occult threats. Now, you may have an occult threat on your hands, and I do feel it is probably our obligation to research and check it out. But that said, I will say that if what you have on your hands is a minor haunting, eh, that falls a little outside of our normal activities. Now, I am sure we are able to point you in the right direction should that be the case. But unfortunately, without seeing it firsthand, without experiencing, without engaging in the phenomena, I am unsure what we will be able to do.
Well, then are you saying that you would be
Then
willing?
I'll at this point interject into the conversation and say, if nothing else, my scientific curiosity is piqued. You say that there was, an evil spirit leering through your house, and something like that is usually a sign of some sort of etheric disturbance, and those disturbances can be as productive from a scientific perspective as they are from a practical one in any other sense. We can always learn more about this phenomena. So on behalf of my colleagues here, we'd be glad to take a look and see what's going on. uh,
Now, that said, sir, we will expect for you to cover our expenses as we engage in our investigation.
Zeppelin fuel ain't free. Yeah.
It is not.
There should be
Do
an
you see the little
upfront.
robot shining his shoes? Do you think they run on charity, sir? Or exposure? No, sir. No, sir.
Don't tell them, but they actually do run on
I
charity.
know, it's totally awesome. High five.
High five has not been invented yet.
What, Ivan?
The high five has not been invented yet. The sense
You
of
can
reality.
be first. It starts off as
great
like a high
moment.
3.
We had to experiment with various configurations of
like
hands.
a cat. We're doing it like a cat. Like,
Well, this isn't satisfactory at all.
Try more
So-
fingers next time.
That's what she said.
yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Weirdly, the windmill up, top, down, low was invented before the simple high five. It was like,
So, Mr. Fry is very much thrilled that you would be even willing to take this on. And Daphne turns and goes, "See, yeah, that's what everyone at the Theosophical Society of Baltimore said, that
God
these
damn
are
it.
the people that
No.
do
I
you."
think Charles and I are both about to throw X's.
I'm not gonna throw up an X. I'm just, yeah. Me and Blavatsky are gonna have to have some words one of these days.
Wait, Blatsky, she's in the game?
Well, Theosophy was the religion she invented, so
Mm-hmm. And that led to some. Yeah. Okay. I'm tracking your X's now.
Yeah. The,
Okay.
The occultists and historians in the group are like, "Ugh."
yeah.
Said you were real
Anyway,
good
anyway.
and that you would be the best people to handle this. So thank you so
Our
much
rates
for
have just increased. And my accent is slightly ironic in ways I just now understand.
so.
Where is Rasputin
so-
from? Was he kicking around during this time?
I think so.
Hey,
Yeah, he's alive.
Hey, chat, tell us when Rasputin was alive. When you can. We won't wait for you. I'll just answer chat.
Ian is in the chat, so you could also pick his brain as well. At this point, of course, Mr. Fry, as Daphne is speaking, chugs his tea and then surreptitiously slides it a little closer to you, Ivan. So he goes. As soon as she's done speaking, he takes his cup of tea back and nurses it carefully. So yes, I will cover your expenses, and you can stay in the manor house. Since you said to do your research on the house, I mean that probably is a good idea. I haven't had a chance to really plumb through the records in town to see what other information could be had. It seems as if from the reports from Daphne, it seems like there's something terrible there at the house, and it's we'd be grateful for all of your help. And so with that, he
Sir-
negotiates a good salary.
Sir, with all due respect, we'll be the judge of whether it's something terrible or not.
He
I
does speak true.
Yeah. We very politely show him out after accepting his generous
And
advance.
making him sign a waiver that if no spooks or ghouls are found, our fee is not refundable.
Yeah, it's
But
very much
then,
not refundable.
He makes sure that. Sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, on the contract that you offer him, he makes lots of notes and additions and addendums that he initials, dates, and signs as he corrects all of your legal typos in your form as you go down, and
I
then
wish
he
somebody would do
signs.
that for me in real life, honestly. Um,
I don't want you to have that. I don't need the headache when I get my contracts back.
So as soon as he's out the door and the door is firmly clicked like behind him, I am immediately just like a child on either one of the many mornings of Hanukkah or Christmas morning or something like that. I practically like dance to my laboratory, and I'm even singing a little tune where I'm like, I'm gonna pack up my ghost hunting shit, ghost hunting shit.
Now, keep in mind, you have the ability to make certain
To make,
items, and
I'm
you can even
about
make
to,
them in
yeah.
advance. Yeah, if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I was gonna do that next, was build my etheric spectacles or etheric goggles, what it is. And so that's I have to spend one. Hang on a tick. We might as well get this out of the way right now.
Absolutely. So your schematics, so you would use one
Yes.
fortune, which you already have automatically starting from the fortune pool, and you need to
Excellent.
make an engineering test at difficulty or at risk 2, which means you need to have at least 2 successes to make that work.
But that's a
So
4 card draw, so that
that's
should be.
correct.
And what do I have to draw lower then?
On each of those on those cards, if it is either a diamond or 8 or lower, then that is a success. Keep in
Diamond
mind,
or
you
8 or
can also,
lower.
if you don't hit that threshold, you can pull more from the fortune pool to get successes, or you can even burn a grit to draw a 5th card if you want.
All right, 4 cards. We've got well, right out of the gate, 1, 2 dime. Oh yeah, I pass. All of them qualify in one way or another. That's 4 successes.
Oh,
So,
wonderful.
woo.
So, what are you making? And tell our audience what it is.
Ooh, so these are etheric goggles, and what they do is exactly what it sounds like. They allow me to detect etheric energy and view it just by putting them on. So once we get to the mansion, I should be able to pretty quickly track down where slash what we're looking for. I
Um,
think the description wasn't
yes.
actually in the. Yeah.
That is correct. It basically
Okay.
is letting you have like these low level looking into ether, kind of like peaking all the time. That ways you're not are considered to be peering. And then Ian has graciously said that Rasputin is alive. He's about 19, and virtually nothing is known what he's doing at his time, so no one knows about his
Wandering the
practices.
earth, just like
Um,
Satan in Job 1, verse 7. Yeah.
and Blavatsky is also alive, though in Europe at this time. Thank you. Anybody else wanting to do any other equipment or packing or investigating around
I'm
town?
actually going to tell our butler dude to pack me up and get my stuff to the thing because I'm going to go to town and go research this place.
That's
You
a good
do.
idea.
You have a 6-person carriage that's drawn by 2 horses, so they get that ready and start packing very carefully, as they know what your ghost hunting stuff is like. Um, do you what name do you prefer to go by? Is it Tong Yen? Or do you have
Lynn.
Lynn? Okay, I don't know which appellation you like. All right, Lynn. Thank you. Um, carefully starts to load up your stuff as well. So areas that might be helpful for you to begin your research, since you've done tons of research in Greater Baltimore City, would be City Hall, the Enoch Pratt Free Library, Baltimore Sun Archives, or thinking about what kind of Daphne is saying, maybe a good place to start might be interviewing people who used to work for the Winters estate.
Yeah, fuck that
Um,
noise.
or
No, I
cut to
think
the
I'm
meat
going to
to the marrow.
I'll
go.
talk to the people who used to work for the estate while he's yeah.
Book diving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the city hall, I think.
Actually, which one of us has the best social skills? Because I think my guy is like all brains
I actually,
know anything
I hate to
else.
say this, I have a 4 in an interview.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to make you do too much research.
I also have a 4 in research.
Let's figure this. Let's see what else
So.
I've got talents in. La 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 la. Okay, so
And then
social for
Ivan, as they're debating about their actions, have you thoughts?
Ivan's thoughts are, I mean, I my interview skills are 0. So that talking to people doesn't make sense.
yeah,
I
me
don't
neither.
I don't know, like ritual, I've got a 3 on that, or no, a 4 on that. Other than that, I've got 3 on notice. I'm not sure what strengths my character has other than performance as a magician, which I should be trying to disprove that there are even ghosts in the house if I'm a magician, because it's clearly all fake and staged and not actually there. This is all buffoonery, and that's why they pay us in advance, because there is nothing for us to find. But then why do I know about ritual? So
Yeah.
You have a lot of so you're a performer. If you look at your skill
yeah.
spread, you have things all about the lore about things, or performance, or stage. So I think there's some ways you could lean into that. So we'll kind of do your research thing as a quick montage series for sake of time. And yeah, so you can do basic level research without a risk level. You could basically, if you don't want to pull cards, you can get surface level information for free from your various sources, or you can spend some more time and actually make a proper check to get deeper levels of information. One of the mechanisms in this game is kind of getting those aha moments. So you're also trying to dig bits of clues out that help you to puzzle together the final bit of the mystery. So, kind of in a Scooby Doo esque thing, you're trying to get clues so you can have that big reveal later. The things that you're hunting after are telltales. So it could be either a heart under your floorboards, or it could be bits of the mystery. So this is where you start to use your fortune to raise your amount of successes when you start making some of your investigation or skill checks, or burning some grit to pull more cards to help you get these successes. For when you're doing these investigation checks, sometimes you might unlock like a secret hidden clue if you get so many successes. But that's part of this kind of puzzling thing. To put that in perspective, for the sake of time for this evening, chances are you're not going to get all the telltales that you need to do the big revelation that helps you figure out what the exact cosmic problem is and how to fix it. But you have always surprised me before. So we'll just kind of do this round robin about what you want to do before we convene and go to the mansion proper. Now, and I realized that are we doing the game capture thing? Or are we staying in the traditional 4 frame thing for
Oh,
the
yeah, Charles is now in charge of the thing. So, yeah, I can go to the game screen
if you
if you
want. No,
want.
I just noticed that. I was like, if we don't have
Um,
already preloaded, we can go back to the other one. I should probably
I
shouldn't
mean,
do that.
I didn't even think about
That's fine.
downloading any of
That's
the art
perfectly well.
assets to
Just
put on here.
snap back to the normal one because we don't need to add
Okay.
any bigger.
Yeah.
I was just making sure for I was going to go in round robin from the top bottom, but we'll just do round this ways. So starting off, we'll go ahead. How about you, Leon? What is your first order of
I'm really
business?
good at. I'm not as good at interviewing people as I am at research.
Then
So,
research away.
but I'm also the only person that's good at interviewing. So, um,
What is your heart telling
I
you?
you know what? I'll interview the people who used to work for the Winters. Fuck it.
So by going through some of the public records for people's employments, you're able to pull up a staff list of people that had worked at the Winter's estate, and it seems like the list is oddly truncated. Most of the people who seem to have worked at Winter State are reported missing, or assumed dead. And there seems to be like the final staff list seems to be like not very comprehensible, except for Gerald Fitzpatrick. Um, Maybe that could be someone that you could interview, or perhaps the people that were recently hired, the contractor, the Green, Mr. and Mrs. Green. Mr. Fry had also mentioned the Esquire that helped with the purchase of the house, Hans Gromit. Could be someone you could interview. Any of that sound of interest? Or perhaps by researching the mansion further, you can find out other people that might be you can find.
I think I need to research the actual mansion. I need to figure out what happened that all of these people have gone missing.
Okay. Uh, if you want to either go to City Hall or the Enoch Pratt Free Library or the Baltimore Sun Archives, we could have you make a check, and then we'll go to the next investigator.
I think the archives are going to be my best friend here.
All right. So go ahead and make me a research check.
Okay, I have drawn 4 cards.
All right. So you need 8 or lower.
I got 2 successes.
All right. And let me know if you ever get a joker, or if you get one of the times where you get both the suit correct and 8 or lower, because that gives you extra benefits.
No, that was a bad draw on my part, but still 2
All right.
successes.
2 successes. So if we were in person, I would actually give you a bit of prop text. However, I will just have to read it at you. So you uncover a couple of newspaper article clippings that give some shed some light on the situation. The headlines are "Millionaire Vanishes," dated May 22nd of 1873. "Millionaire Mystery Solved," July 17th, 1873, and "Pro-Segregation Lawyer Vanishes," December 28th, 1875. The "Millionaire Vanishes" article reads, "Reclusive millionaire Archibald Winters has gone missing. Former Californian Archibald Winters is known primarily for his wealth from several successful mines in the Pacific Northwest. Police are baffled by his disappearance. His head butler, Gerard Fitzpatrick, claims that when he returned from the visiting family in New York, Winters and the rest of the household staff are no longer present. He expressed deep concerns at the sudden disappearance and theorizes that maybe the elderly millionaire returned to California, although the police say there's been no luck contacting him through any of his former business associates." Millionaire mystery solved? Gerard Fitzpatrick, the head butler of the Winters estate, has reported to the police that he has received correspondence from his erstwhile employer, Archibald Winters. In the correspondence, Winters claims to be on vacation in Africa. Archibald's eldest son, Charles Winters, refutes this claim, saying that his father was far too ill to have possibly made a journey to Africa. However, despite the protest by Charles Winter, authorities have closed this case, citing the letters from Archibald Winters to his butler, Gerard Fitzpatrick, as ample proof. And lastly, the pro-segregationist lawyer vanishes. Mr. Charles Winters, Esquire, known in legal and political circles as an advocate for Southern causes and enforcement of segregation laws, has been reported missing by his younger brother, Theodore Winters. His mysterious disappearance mirrors that of the elder Winters. Archibald Winters also vanished quite suddenly in 1873. It was evidently learned from his former butler, Gerard Fitzpatrick, that he had gone on holiday in Europe and Africa. He was declared deceased earlier this year, and per his request, the family estate was bequeathed to his granddaughter, Edith. Sadly, young Edith died in a drowning accident only months after inheriting the estate and family fortune. That's a lot that you uncovered there with your 2 successes. So you're starting to get a little bit of a feel of some of the bad things that have happened in and around this estate, or at least feeling like there's something more under the surface. Switching over to you,
I
Lit.
will say before we go, I'm going to insist on interviewing Fitzpatrick before we go to the actual manor, but I will cede the floor to the next person.
Lynn.
Yeah, so I am going to use one of my abilities, which is willful. Or I'm sorry, not willful. That's resistance to ether. It's workshop. So I'm going to create another etheric artifact, and this time not using a fortune token, uh, due to that lab power, I
That's
guess.
true. I should have said that earlier, since if you want to
I didn't
negate my
notice it,
previous
so
thing.
it's not a problem. I should have noticed it. So this time I'm going to build the ether grenade, because I think that will probably come in handy.
That is a helpful thing. So, for people who don't make ether grenades, they will help destroy etheric creatures like ghosts or other things, but it can also be used to kind of unmoor living creatures. It does hurt them psychically as well, inflicts shock to them. So, go ahead and make that engineering check.
That's 4 cards. Let's see how we do this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we've got a pass, fail, pass, fail. So that's 2 passes.
Then that is successful.
Great.
That's exactly what you need. So you carefully make one of these things. Real quickly, what does it look like?
Like a mason jar that Nikola Tesla kind of like turned into a like mysterious sex toy. So it's a mason jar, but it's got like lots of wires and like mysterious vibrating knobs and like blinky lights and stuff. It's pretty cool.
I love it.
And there's nothing in the mason jar to the naked eye. But hey John, I just made us an ether grenade for when we go ghost hunting.
I have never been hornier.
How did you know that has a dongle on it?
I described it as like if Nikolai Tesla made a sex toy.
So it's shaped like a
It's-
pigeon.
Yeah,
It could
The words Ethernet grenade are just very sexy.
Yeah,
kill an
yeah.
elephant.
yeah. It could, yeah, or deeply satisfy an elephant. It depends on how you use it, really,
Ugh.
with good intent or ill.
Oh,
Um,
if Tesla used it, it would please the elephant. If Edison used it,
It would kill us all. Yeah.
yeah.
Great. So you have your etheric grenade, and you were also loaded up in your equipment. When you look at it with your etheric goggles, you can see like that shimmering luminousness inside the mason jar that no one else can see, and it
Mhm.
shows the strength and purity of your weapon. Ivan, so you've been waiting patiently as your comrades are out gallivanting about. What is it that you are doing?
I feel like Ivan's skill set that he has would be best suited actually investigating the house proper. I can't for the life of me think of anything to do outside of there. Uh,
Take a nap.
yeah, like I go and I wouldn't even do that. Yeah, I'm napping.
So how
For those of
about
you at home, never underestimate the importance of napping while on your adventure.
I napped today. It was glorious.
I would
Yeah.
love to nap. For sake of showing more of the game and thing, because investigation games tend to be longer or more slow burn, and we have a short, fast thing. Would it ever be okay if we kind of just smash cut and go straight to the manor and kind of skip out expedition, and that way we can get into some actual exploration and danger?
So long as you give us any of the answers I would have gotten from Fitzpatrick.
So tracking down Fitzpatrick is going to take some time to find.
We can smash cut through that.
Well,
You
all right.
just
So when you
said.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll smash cut through that. So as you're trying to track down Gerald Fitzpatrick, since the one person's name you'll be able to track down, you find that he lived at the Winters Estate until June 1875, when he was incarcerated for embezzling money from the Winters family.
Nice.
Strange. The Butler embezzling funds. Weird.
Fuck the
And then
rich.
he died after only 3 months in prison.
Okay. Well,
So
we will wait until next session for my grave digging and questioning a corpse game. All right, we can go to the manor now.
so the
I love that.
Winters estate is situated about 10 acre. It's like a 10-acre estate, few miles northwest of Baltimore City. You take your wagon and you get there, cutting through deep snow, and it's a cold, bitter journey. And it's very fantastic that you're able to smash cut, and not suffer through all of it. So you find yourselves going through a very foreboding forest. The trees themselves bowing under the weight of the snow, kind of looking like lurching figures. um, it's the place has a feeling of desolation and being watched, and the closer you approach the manor, you feel this oppressiveness, like a pressure building up in your ears, and you just feel um, almost like a feeling of decay around you. Are you bringing your mechanical little men with you? Are they still like doing things on your as you get
They're just writing in my pockets. Like I've got the full like adventurer's lab coat on. So it's like a regular lab coat except with like more canvas paneling, a little tiny bit of like reinforcements here and there. And they're writing like pocket protectors in one of my pockets. Just like geeking
Nice.
out. Yeah.
And the closer you get to the house, your little men start to jerk spasmodically. And you can hear with your fine-tuned mechanics hearing that the gears are stripping in your
Bummer.
mechanism.
I'm gonna go ahead and repair them. Those guys are gonna come in handy. And since by repairing them, I'm going to legitimately bring them into the game. That's one of my big skills too, I think. Or is it just a draw of two? Let's see.
Your fix it is basically you can fix about anything. Since you've got the
Yeah.
materials, it's no real risk for you. For if anything, for a no risk check, you're noticing that your mechanisms seem to be affected by a greater amount of entropy than there would be nominally at home, as if there is something here that is wearing down the teeth on all the cogs of your little mechanical men, the closer you get to the house. Like you're just watching it just eat away.
All right. Out you guys go. I'm gonna leave them right here in the snow and pick them up on the way home. I don't want them to dissolve into scrap. I've grown quite attached to them, and they're
They
not
look,
gonna be cold. So,
but they look at you with these forlorn, sad, mechanical eyes as you leave
aw,
them in the snow.
it's for your own good, little friends. Yeah.
So the house itself is a three-story Victorian mansion with a wraparound porch, and you can see a tower sticking out of the northeast corner. Clapboard siding is peeling and faded, but under it you can still see a little bit of the original Federal blue paint. Behind the building, you can see that there is a shack or a shed, it's about a foot and a half of snow sticking on top of it. And in between the house and the shed, you can see in the driveway there's a big pile of construction materials with just a tarp over it haphazardly, like boards and buckets of nails and other stuff.
Let's give the house a quick scan through the ether goggles.
Like it.
So as you put on the goggles, you have this kind of little like knee jerk as you um, see that you're just completely surrounded in a bubble of like entropy is what it feels like. You can see and you know, as all of you are experts in this kind of etheric knowledge, that this is a manifestation of the etheric as pure entropy. And that probably explains why the house looks like it's going to collapse in upon itself, that the repairs haven't been made. Um, and you can just you feel even like your joints creaking more that you're here. Not like you're going to fall apart, but you're almost going to be withering faster.
Yeah, this reminds me of oh fuck. I'm gonna do it. So like deep cut 40k lore, there was the one Iron Warrior who was actually a decent dude and what was his
the
name? Dora.
Dantios.
Dantiok. And
Antioch,
like
yeah.
Dantiok is all fucked up inside of his armor and decrepit, and like you always wonder how that happened. It
Except his
turns out
heart.
yeah, and it turns out it's because he was on Perturaba's orders, just like throwing himself against a Harad migration, and so like they aged him like 100,000 years in like a day, or like less than a day. And so inside of his armor, he's like the oldest space marine, like much older than even like the old warriors are after 10K or whatever. Anyway, that's all.
I think Dante of the Blood
Blood
Angels is the like oldest natural space marine. Like has not been artificially aged, has not been interred. Whereas
Yeah.
I believe Fenrir Iron Fist is the oldest interred and not completely insane.
There's
Yeah.
there's some
Dan-
original OGs from Dark Angel, but they're not real. So yeah.
But Fenrir is also an OG. He fought alongside my wolf boy. My
So-
good wolf boy.
Dark
Yes.
Angel was a TV show on in the late 90s.
That's
And
all
That's
right.
what we're talking about.
yeah,
A very awesome TV show. I love that shit. Yeah.
What a great little commercial break we've had here.
yes.
So there are going to be some times where it takes some liberties with the skill checks just for sake of things. So technically, you would need to do some more etheric checks to get all that information, but I was wanting to move action along accordingly. All right. So again, you have a shed outdoors. You can go around the house, go inside the house. What is your investigative thing? We'll start off with Ivan, since this is your realm and you haven't had a chance to really delve into your skills. So tell us, Ivan the Great, what are you doing?
Ivan has some solid skills in notice and mysterious. So, with his background as a magician, as well as his ability to speak French and German and English, I feel like I should
Sure.
be able to detect paranormal things.
Mhm.
Because
So notice is your awareness of your surroundings and the ability to see hidden things.
yes,
So, all right. So pick one of those general features, and then we'll kind of hone in on there, and then see what your investigative senses detect.
okay,
Your
so
high stat.
they're the same. My highest stat is ritual and perform, but I don't see how doing like that is going to help us right now.
You should juggle a Ouija board.
I take out 4 Ouija boards and the planchettes. In one hand,
Yes.
I am spinning the Ouija boards like a pizza. So I get them to go up, and then I catch it, and I kind of make a semicircle. In the other hand, I'm just kind of jostling the planchettes, and then I start to spin the planchettes on my finger, and I get like 4 sticks out. I have all the planchettes out, and I'm still doing this. So it's spin, spin, do, do.
This is definitely what the creator wanted to happen when he said
This is-
ritual and perform.
I perform a ritual to summon a physical manifestation of any paranormal spirit inside
Mhm.
of one of Mr. Bernard's little dolls. I put a cup over it, and I demand that the spirit go into the doll.
All right. So this is going to be interesting. So
My only response is that my character strongly objects to them being called dolls. Those are mechanical anthropoid constructs. They're not
Yes.
dolls. I'm not playing with them.
Vine's sister had one as
Ooh.
well. It was about the same size, but with longer blonde hair
I
and
feel like
pigtails.
he does protest too much.
So, taking a lot of the ideas that you're putting about how you want to explore this, you do have your abilities include channeling your sense magic, channeling the dead, which is going to be better when you've actually found a corpse or an undead thing, circle of protection, and lesser banishing ritual. So if you are wanting to invoke a creature, I think the first thing you need to do is find proof or evidence that there's something, and then you can work to channel it into a vessel, let's say, because it sounds
So
like
we
you're wanting.
notice we do notice for looking for proof. Yes, am I understand this correctly?
I was a little bit distracted by the planchette spinning, and I was just trying to make sure I was deciphering that.
Yes,
Um,
that's the
but
point, is to be distracting. Get your
well,
attention over here.
success, great
Meanwhile,
success.
I have your wallet.
Oh shit, you do. But
Nice.
the real question is, was this your card? So, um,
I don't know.
as
Is
you
it?
are, that is fantastic. So as you are um, going through your pack, you're pulling out your Ouija board and you're getting a palpation of the ether. Um, go ahead and make me a. Let's see. That I actually don't think would be. I will have this be a non um, risk test. I will say that by using your Ouija board and your fine-tuned planchettes, you are able to use your sense magic. You start to palpate, putting your hand on it, letting your hand being guided. Um, and at first, there's no real detection of like magic. Like there's not been magic or spells cast in this area per se, but you start to feel your hand twitch, and the planchette starts to move. Do you let your hand be moved and read what it's communicating to you?
Of course, that's why we're here, right? I mean, it's either that or like the crystal on a string, where I'm like, okay, point me in the direction as to where the spirits are.
Um,
Yeah, it's that way.
Works better with a coffin nail.
um, so the hand starts to move to B, A, D, F, O, O, D, and then your hand cramps around the planchette and you feel your nails like dig into it, and your hand just rhythmically goes between D, I, and E over and over and over, and you start to wear a rut in your board.
Okay, I get
The
it. You died from bad food. Now, where are you?
um the planchette stops, and it feels like it's wanting to go into two different directions. Like you are feeling your hand being pulled as if something is interfering with your planchette going a cohesive thing. You're kind of just going in a circle, um, and it just says up.
Gentlemen, I believe the spirit is upstairs.
Didn't you say it has the main structure has like a tower of some kind?
Yes.
Well, I think we know where we're headed.
Um, all right. So you enter the house then?
Yeah, I think so. What do you guys think? Anyone have anything else they want to do out here?
I can't think of anything other
Okay.
than pocket one of your little men without you knowing.
So when you enter the manor, you smell that immediate damp smell of mildew and wood rot, both dry and wet wood rot, which is not
Ah.
something you want to smell. That there's that scent of dust and just old wallpaper glue. And you see that this is what you would expect from entering a house that's been left standing for 10 years. There's evidence of wild animal tracks from like nails being scratched into floorboards. The wallpaper is curling, and you can see thick layers of glue for it looks like someone tried to recently repair it and put it up. The floor has been partly ripped up, and you can see old rotting floorboards being replaced with new bright red and black tile. starting to go into a nice pattern, but it just kind of looks like someone just stopped their work abruptly. All in all, this manor is seemingly almost larger on the inside, and you would think that by looking at the relative dimensions, there's probably 30, 40 rooms in this place. There's piles of construction materials in this initial foyer, and you um, just kind of hear the low moaning sound of cold, drafty breeze rattling the house. So you can see different directions that you could head as far as different wings. You know that by looking where the relative like tower structure is, that's going to be towards the rear of the house. So you would need to probably go down this forward corridor and start opening rooms to see if you can find what might take you up that direction. You see that there's an immediate landing that can take you to the upper stairs here, kind of a nice large staircase that extends down the wings of this place. Um, where do you want to start?
Forward hallway.
Either that or up. I mean,
Well, we could go up the landing, but I thought that what Ian said was it looks like access to the tower is from the forward hallway.
oh, I missed that. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I was trying to map it out in my head, so
So, um, as you start to go forward, you can just feel the house sagging under your feet. The boards are just almost rotting, and you should be very careful of how you are stepping. If you
which
kind
of
of
us yeah, hang on real quick before you go on. Since you have a high notice uh the greats, do you want to like help us figure out a safe way to get down this hallway?
for sake of time, I'll make that as zero risk and you're able to point safely out. And
Okay,
but you do see
cool.
that there are patches that if he didn't take the time to point out that you could probably sink a whole leg through. Um, so you are definitely getting that feeling of like these contractors did not fix this house at all. It looks like almost no repairs were actively done to this place.
Yeah, but at the same time, like we know that there's a like a like aura, a miasma of entropy that would be breaking it down no matter what repairs they did.
So why not pocket the money?
I mean, I
Yeah,
would.
I'm on the butler's side too. Except for the whole dying in prison thing. I wonder if I'd be very curious to know if he was murdered or if that was old age, if the entropy bubble like aged him prematurely.
It's also possible he didn't die. We won't know until we dig up his corpse and ask it some questions.
Wait a minute, that he didn't die, dig up his corpse. I'd say his corpse is pretty good evidence that he did die.
That's because you have been fooled by the Illuminati.
You have not heard of the Prestige, have you? Obviously, we're in the right time period.
Dude,
It's
so
Charles.
like on the real, The Prestige is one of the most horrifying movies that's not actually a horror movie ever made. Like,
Charles,
yeah.
what I have to tell you about the corpse is mind freak. He was Chris Angel the whole time.
Dirty little mind freak, freaking my mind. Chris Angel's hot.
He likes corn.
Well, so do I. It's a match made in heaven.
I agree.
He's trashy and I love it. Yeah, it's great.
So
I miss Las Vegas.
So also when you're using your notice skill to navigate the floor, you see that there are the most worn tracks on the floor lead to what appears would be a library on this floor at least. There's a worn pattern going upstairs on the main staircase, and what looks like it would lead to presumably the kitchen by the relative position of the room, and as well as another room on the ground floor. Not sure what it is, but probably it's a reading room or a parlor or a study of some kind. The area that's going to be the most proximal to that, to what you're seeing up, like that tower thing looming, would probably be in the direction of what looks to be the library.
You guys want to head that way?
I mean, yeah, I'll do that. That's
I
fine.
kind of want to check out, see if there are any books in like
Yeah.
salvageable order anyway, because we're always trying to increase the occult knowledge of our order.
Yeah, salvageable,
So,
or did they summon something in that
yeah.
library?
Evidence first, then salvage second. I agree. Yeah. But since you again have the high notice, I think that I should have you like be the one who does the book indexing. Unless actually John, you've got high research, right?
Yeah, I
Eh,
have ultra high, and I
have
have
a
a high notice too. So
I have a 2 in research, so I might actually be of some. Why don't we all go to in the
yeah,
library?
Let's all go to the
let's all
library
go to the
together.
Our
lobby.
chances. Yeah. All right, cool. So doing this round robin, as our GM likes to say, who's gonna go first?
We'll do this reverse direction since we started off with Leon first. We'll start off with Ivan.
All right, the
Uh,
great. Let's see what you
yeah.
notice.
Let me see here. So I assume the duodecimal system will not be invented for 30 years.
I
Uh,
wish I knew that. I don't know when it was invented.
Also slightly racist, found out.
Yeah, crazy.
No shit.
Yeah. Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. I'm just like, how can a fuck? Well, anything can be racist. I
Yeah.
guess.
If
If
you
you
try
ever
hard enough.
you ever want to feel like people suck, listen to Behind the Bastards.
Oh yeah, I
God
love
damn, I
it.
love that show
That's
so
the
Yeah.
much.
show that introduced me to Robert Evans, and then I went much
Mhm.
deeper into the Robert Evans oeuvre.
I'm
Charles and
not.
I have
Yeah.
discussed Robert Evans many a time.
Well, you'll have to catch me up at some point in the future because I am woefully under
They
schooled.
they have a 4-parter on Helena Blasky. 4-parter.
Because she fucking sucks, man. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, right.
Anywho's
She's
being, yeah.
So
So
is
how do I have yet to draw a card? I
well,
honestly,
we will make that happen here. So when you enter the library, because I mean there is literally a placard on the wall that says library before you enter this place, you see that this is a towering library. That it goes from floor to ceiling. It's a 2-story affair with bookcases lining all of the walls. The first thing that really attracts your attention is not only are there some books randomly splattered on the ground, but there is a whole pile of debris heaped over in one corner because it looks like the upper balcony has been torn apart in one section, as well as the spiral staircase that would go up to that landing area. It's just been completely butchered apart in huge chunks, like with an axe or something. It's splintered wood and just heaped up in a corner. All of that stuff. As you are standing here, do you feel the air in here is thicker? It's not just that smell of musty paper and foxfire, but it's something that almost kind of coats the back of your throat of how thick the air is. What skill were you say that you're wanting to use? Are you wanting to make a full notice check?
yeah, I'll do a full notice check.
And as another thing, just since we've only kind of briefly touched on the ether material, you can peek to kind of get a kind of yes no answers on is the ether involved in an area. Your goggles that you wear, they last for an hour. They basically are always considered to be peaking. If you made a heavier check, then you get the information I provided earlier about the entropy. But you can also do that as part of your one of your checks that you can make is kind of probing deeper into the ether. But so it sounds like you want to do a notice check to kind of get in a better lay of the land. So for you, your notice is, hold on, let me check your sheet. Your
Can
notice is 3.
Yeah.
can I loan the ether specs back and forth to people?
That's a great question. I would assume under normal cases, probably not. But since you spent time with these people and you've probably explained and mansplained your goggles for forever,
Thanks, buddy.
especially on that wagon ride, I'm sure that they could probably use that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you could
So
also
go ahead
wear
and
his
add the ether thing to his
sure thing.
notice. Yeah.
All right, so you're going to be pulling 3 cards unless you want to modify that further. And so you're
Okay.
trying to get spade or 5 or lower.
You know what? I'll do this. Okay. Spade and king and jack. So nope. Uh,
Well, you got
but
one spade.
and it's a 5.
Oh, so you got a spade and a 5. So that's a success, and you get a point of fortune. So that's really good.
Double plus good.
Exactly. So you have one success out of your 3 cards. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Well, the one card out of 3. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. So the as you are investigating, you are noticing the first thing that really captivates you is the um are those books moving? Like you're looking at them and you're noticing that there's a fine tremor in some of the books on one of the walls, and you're noticing like the books are starting to kind of scoot out from the wall, and it's a whole bookshelf. Like all the books are beginning to scoot away from the wall. Do you get closer and check that out, or are you using your goggles to look at that?
Yeah. If I have the goggles right now, sure. Let's.
Yeah. So you notice there's definitely some localized etheric activity happening here. The books are beginning to rattle, and as you lean forward looking at him, a blast of books just smacks you right in the face. Moby Dick just creases your nose, or the
Yeah.
whale, as it
Moby
was
Dick
called.
all over my face.
Melville was a. It's fine. That's not where I was going with it, but
Hey, but that's where it went. All over my character's face.
that is true.
A real white whale, just like right there.
So you are smashed with a barrage of
Yeah, I am.
books. So we'll do this as let me pull this out. So you are hit with these books, and it does.
In all seriousness,
What?
like if you live in an earthquake prone area and you have books on high shelves, please don't sleep there. Because you may actually die from that. It's something that happens is like
Oh, really?
a sufficiently heavy book or anything falling from a shelf onto your head while you're asleep can like crush your entire skull. Not a book probably, but they can hurt you real bad.
Okay.
Don't I mean, yeah, don't also don't Mr. Patchkey, this is specifically for you. If you move to a place with earthquakes, don't sleep under your sword collection.
That
That's not just an earthquake like thing. You just generally don't want to do that. But
Hey,
Yeah.
also don't
How-
make love too hard under it.
Well,
how big of a book will it take to kill someone?
I've actually tested. You know what? We should keep playing.
Test it. Yeah.
so I actually get to pull cards in this case, and
Rude.
no, it's so you as these books come flying towards you, the actually we'll treat it as opposed. Go ahead and make me a oh no. Actually, so
Make him a handsome chick.
no, I know. I'm just disappointed. I got
Oh.
to do my first check, and unfortunately, I got a complete failure, and I wanted to do something a lot better. So I will go ahead and burn my 1 doom point.
So you could lie to us. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Just lie to me, just like my mother used to do. It's fine.
All right. So burning the 1 doom point that I have at my disposal, that when you got hit with that Moby Dick, it actually did feel like did crack your nose. One of the things that you have is grit, and so grit can also help to soak your damage. Once you run out of grit, you actually start to take higher levels of damage conditions that then impede your ability to draw cards and eventually lead to death. So this was a pretty low level etheric attack, let's say, without kind of tipping my cards. So if you burn one of your grit, you can prevent your nose from being broken, let's say. Do you want to burn your grit?
Yeah, I'm gonna burn a grip just because this thing, we can't have
This
that
is
looking
money.
bad. Yeah,
Can't
Uh,
take
that's
a
a
money shot to the money maker.
so
exactly.
So you get this bright burst of kind of etheric sense with those goggles, and you know that there is some type of manifestation here as these books kind of blow past you.
Yeah, they do. Low. Right
You
down.
have the uncanny sense that since you have sense magic, this isn't magic. There is something present here, some form of entity or essence is here, and it is malevolent.
I think we found it, boys. Yeah. Now can I channel the evil spirit into this doll? Then I pull up one of the little mechanical figures.
We will, but we're going to rotate next in round robin. So that would then put us at Lynn.
What's the effective? All right, you know what? First off, so I do have 2 on my research, and I don't know if that would work the same way as notice would, because my notice is I think 0, but I can burn grit to add cards to that, right?
That's true. So your
Yep.
research is like your ability to sift through lots of information. So that's more meticulous. So it's kind of like spot versus search in the game that shall not be mentioned.
Yeah, like so research would I be able to use that to locate the precise like where this attacker is?
So like, again, this would be research is going through like stacks of papers. It's like reading articles and stuff. So that
Whereas
would be
no,
more of a
I would be able to do that with notice. You think?
yes. That would be more of a
I'm
notice.
gonna
So
go ahead and burn 4 grit to add 4 cards to my notice
wow.
from 0. Well, I've got 10 of it. Let's see, 3, 4.
So, so you're adding 4 to you. Oh, I'm on the wrong character sheet there.
Yeah, I'm adding 4 to my notice.
Okay, yes, that means you pull 6 cards, and then you can have up to 5 applicable cards in essence.
Excellent.
So you're trying to get spades or 5 or less.
Okay. Spades or 5 or less. One more. Come on.
Um, this really should be
All
more
right, so there's spade,
spirited.
spade, and 5 or less. Uh,
If it might
and
be
yeah,
if you're trying to really if you're trying to identify where that the books have come from, that wouldn't need to be burnt that high. If you're trying to track, let's say,
I've got a
the
total of
location of of
I've got
a sorry, good.
I've got 3 successes with one of them being a double success, so I think that's 4 successes out of 5.
When you say double success, did you get the Joker?
No, I had under and a spade.
Okay,
So I had a 5 that was also a spade.
gotcha. So really, if you are going to be trying to track the location of an otherworldly thing, that's going to be more under the sight skill. For the sake of not doing a repull, we'll treat that as a materia check as also two. So it would have been the same outcome because it's the same suit, same threshold. So you're able to uh, look deeper into the ether to see where this thing is, and you see this form kind of materializing. Normally invisible, you see this ghoulish, ghastly, otherworldly form of almost looks to be a rotted human form, but also ghostly at the same time. Their ends bleeding out into reality. They look at you with like these deep sockets where their eyes are, and you feel your blood go cold. So you see exactly where it is, but you are looking at this horrible thing, and you're going to be making a hardening check to see if you resist seeing the absolute shock and terror of looking at a undead human soul or spirit in the ether. So that you're
Well,
going to be
good thing that I have a special skill that comes in handy for that.
that
Um, which in this case is 1 second. Do, do,
that
do,
is
do.
that is going to be
Willfulness or something like that.
that's correct.
Yeah. Which gives me an advantage of 1 extra card, I think.
So you get to pull 3 cards.
I get to pull 3 cards. Okay, great. And what am I trying to beat?
You're trying to get diamonds.
Okay, diamonds, 3 cards has to be. Oh, for hardening. That's cool.
So this is like
Does-
your mental save.
Yeah. So I freaking did it. Queen of diamonds. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes, Queen.
Um,
Queen.
so
Do I have any like? Is that my entire move then?
um, refresh me. How many successes did you get when you did your identification? You got 4 successes. Um, so all right, so you identify this thing as a poltergeist. Looking at their clothing, you can see that this looks to be would have been maybe like a servant of some kind. Their form is contorted and into like this permanent scowl, even though there's almost no like there's a combination of flesh and bone, almost as if like a corpse that's been out rotting for a long time, but also partially mummified. It points and it hisses at you, but you are able to steel yourself against it. Um, do you want to throw your grenade or hold on to that?
No, you're goddamn right. I'm gonna throw my ghost bomb at that thing.
Now, keep
So
in mind that it has a 3 yard, or was it 1 yard radius? Hold up here. I think it's a 1 yard radius. So that's 3 feet. If you're not careful with it, then you can catch Ivan in its circle of effect.
I thought
Do it.
a yard was more like
Do
4
it.
feet.
Oh
Thought
yeah,
a meter was 3 and a yard was 4.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. 4.
Yeah,
Hey,
okay.
The UK, the U.S. system is just bonkers. Let's be real.
It is. Like so I wasn't aware that Ivan was so or that the Great was so close to the thing.
For convenience, we'll just say he'll be right outside the blast. How about that?
All right, cool. Yeah.
No, put me in it.
So
Yeah,
the
if he's in it, do it.
all right, all right. The top of this thing is it looks like an extremely high-tech egg timer, except that it's one without seconds. It just has kind of a 1 crank on it. And so when I crank it, it goes ding, and then I almost immediately throw it, and the glass just shatters. And while it's not so spectacular to anyone not wearing the etheric goggles, it's quite the light show for me who is wearing it, which is great. So
Great. So I am going to have you make a check to see how many degrees of success that you get for throwing it. So we'll try. Well, that'll be a throw, and so you already have a 2 in throw. So go ahead and make me a throw check.
that's 2, and I'm trying to beat one on
Uh,
that.
5 or lower, and that'd be the suit of clubs.
I did get a club.
All right, good enough.
And
So
I gotta tell you guys, based on tonight's results, I think that I might be doing playing cards instead of dice from now on, because the dice have just been fucking me hard, like in my nostrils. But this has been a sweet, luxurious session of lovemaking with my cards. So,
it's a fun system. I like it. I just need to keep shuffling
yeah.
my deck. I've shuffled it 5 times, maybe more than that, and I've only pulled diamonds, nothing but diamonds.
Whoa,
High
weird.
diamonds. Yeah.
Mm,
Apparently really suck at shuffling.
right.
There is this blinding light show that comes out as you release your etheric grenade, and there is this high-pitched shriek that comes with it as you inflict 5 points of etheric damage. In the kind of afterburn image, like you see all the flesh, like spiritual flesh, melt off of its form, then its bones crumble, and then in the rolling shockwave, the misty tendrils of its like very gossamer thin clothing remnants kind of just disappears into the
Even the
breeze.
ghost's ghost blows away. I love that.
And when you do that, you feel a tremor run through the whole house, and something is aware and not happy with that. Snapping
fuck.
to you, Leon. So you just saw
I
books.
didn't see shit.
Where are
I
you?
saw Ivan accidentally hit himself in the face with a book, and then I saw
All the schnapps.
Lynn just toss a egg timer into the middle of the library while like hooting like an idiot.
But you did hear a little
And the
after
ding, and the ding.
Yeah, and the ding. Yeah.
You know what? I want to use a special ability. I'm going to use illumination. Costs 1 fortune, requires 1 minute. I can focus on finding a particular piece of information. And if
That's
it's in
handy.
within sight, it will start to glow.
All right.
And
Oh,
so, what I
yeah.
am looking for in this library is any. I'm looking for the truth of what happened to the elder Winters.
Okay. Book document.
Is that in How I Killed My Older Brother by Tommy Winters, which is right there on the shelf?
I mean, it could, but like, there could be.
So
But hear me out. There could be a journal from
Yeah.
the butler, the brother. There could be old articles. There could be a
Sure.
blood spot. Literally, there could
O.J.
be a blood
Simpson
spot in a book.
And
So-
O.J. Simpson actually did write a book like that.
if
Yeah.
I did it,
O.J. Simpson could be there.
Like we're investigating O.J.'s house, and John performs this spell, and if I did it on the shelf, just like lights up like a torch, you know.
so you get so the ability of illumination, even if it's like in a drawer or out of sight, you know exactly where to look.
Um,
And
if
you're
it's within sight, it emits a pale glow. If it's in, yeah, and I will know where to look if it's hidden from me. So it could be in like a hidden wall or something. I'll know.
so there
Nice.
is a glow that you can perceive, but you can't really see with your eyes, but like the inner third eye, and it's right past this other bookshelf. So like down from the line of bookcases from where Ivan had been pelted with books, there's a glow in the wall. Like it is underneath where the balcony had been ripped away. It's directly under that. It's coming from behind the bookcase.
Okay, I'm going to use Enigma to search for a hidden wall or a hidden door.
All right.
That makes
So
sense, right?
yeah, because you
Yeah,
already
if that
have the
doesn't work, I can also use probably like Tinker or something on my next
Yeah.
turn.
well
And
kind of
I'll spend 2 grit.
Sure. For sake of time and the fact that you've already been kind of given this information from Illumination, you can see that the wood on this bookcase is slightly newer than the wood on the adjoining and nearby bookcases. If you take the time, you could rip this. Well, even by ripping, you can see that there is some scratching on the floor. It looks like you could just pull this away.
I got 3 successes anyway, so I
Beautiful.
find it.
So you pull it behind, and you see that there is the archway for a door, and you see that there is a staircase that leads up.
Okay. I'm going to follow the glow of my heart and also this murder book.
Follow the glow of your pineal gland. Yeah, I will follow behind John's character, whose name I can't remember. That's I
Leon.
almost had it. Leon, thank you. I was thinking Lucas for some reason. Leon.
So you follow this staircase up, and you see that it leads to a trap door. Like it seems like you're climbing for a flight and a half, and there's like a false ceiling, and there's like a trap door built into it.
Cool.
It is locked and nailed.
I got this. I got the lock part anyway. I think that let's see. I have a watch repair kit with me. I cannot imagine that would not work as
Go
a,
go
a
ahead and
lockpick.
I was gonna say go ahead and the third just has knavery for picking locks, or you can, as a etheric engineer, you could use Tinker to take it apart as well.
Let me let the
So
great
that's a
shine
three.
for a
That's
minute.
a yeah.
That's you, Pashki. You've
Ivan,
got
do you want to make a check for knavery?
Sure. Um. Yeah.
So that is 3 cards, and you're trying to get clubs or 5 or less.
I got 1 club and a 4. That
nice.
spade. That is 7.
So you have 2 successes.
Yes.
So after tinkering, you're able to get this very heavy padlock off, and taking the time with all the mechanical apparatus and tools, probably in your toolkit there, Lynn, you've got pry bars to take these nails off. And then each nail that you pull out from this trap door, you get this increasing sense of trepidation. And you literally, not figuratively, feel the hair on the back of your neck begin to stand up. The air gets a little bit cooler, and you notice like condensation beginning to sweat on each of the nails that you take off. You look like you've gotten all the nails down. You could open this trap door and see what's on the other side. Who
I
wants
can't
to?
build another etheric bomb, right? I can only
Um,
build one per
you can't.
day.
No, you can. So it's you have to make your check and spend your fortune, because fortune's the commodity. The fact you've got workbench 3, you can make those on the
I've
fly.
actually still
Ian
I've
even
still
said so on
got
the chat that it's
nice.
kind of a quick thing that you
Cool.
can do.
I've also got one remaining point, like free fortune token from my skill. So I'm gonna use that and draw. Let me see, it was what, 2 that I have to check for this? Because the skill I had was the one that allowed me to
Well,
have two free
so
etheric things per day. I'd
we
already spent
will
a token on the
we'll
previous
hand
one.
wave that, since we're so close to time, that you've
Right.
made
Okay,
that in the spare time. So the
got
question is,
it.
who is wanting to enter into this space?
Well, I got the ether bomb. I'll do it if you guys want, or I'll just give
Yeah.
it to someone else to use. Yeah, you know what, John, you're a tough son of a bitch. You want to borrow the ether specs and the bomb and
I
take
am
care of this?
cowardly.
Oh,
Yeah,
hmm.
my weakness is cowardly.
Oh,
I do
okay.
not want to.
So if you fail basically your mental check and you take sufficient amount of damage, your weakness comes into play. So all right, so who's going to be the brave one to lead us into this final section for this evening?
Ivan's drunk.
That
And
Don't
counts
know. You don't know that. It's not
That's why I love it.
true.
Yeah, here you go, buddy. I actually put the ether specs on his face. Have you ever had a friend so drunk you've got to put their sunglasses on for them or their glasses? Like,
weekend at Bernie's.
yeah, and
So I
hand him the ether bomb. Let her rip, buddy.
So, Ivan, as you open the door into this space, you see an oblong table lies in the middle of this tower chamber, as if set for a luncheon. However, the food is long decayed. A thick layer of dust and mold covers the china and tattered tablecloth. Seated are what appear to be the moldering skeletons of former servants.
Nice.
Um, of the Winters estate. At the far end, seated in a wheelchair, is another desiccated figure, possibly Archibald Winters, based on his clothing and eyeglasses. Archibald's hands are outstretched in a death grip around the throat of yet another skeletal figure, presumably that of his son Charles. Your eye is then drawn to the stack of glittering gold bars stacked neatly on the floor behind Archibald, curiously free of dust. As you enter into this space, you hear the rattling of bones echo in this space as the figure holding the neck of the skeleton in his hands, his grip tightens, his head swivels and looks at you bearing down. The head of the skeleton being throttled pivots slowly, bones grinding turns and looks, and then the jaw begins to snap in place, and you feel the ether begin to wind tighter around this place as this morass of negative energies kind of buffets you. And we will just pause there for our time sequence to kind of give a little bit of in media res
Ooh,
of
chilling.
building a little bit more of this mystery. Kind of took a couple of creative liberties to kind of get to that pause there, but the going through the quick start adventure, you can spend more time doing more delving into research, doing the slow burn activities that help you to get those little aha moments to build towards the greater revelation of how do you quelch the ether incursion here.
Very cool.
Then that puts us at our announcement time.
So, not a lot to announce. Well, first of all,
Excuse me?
hold your horses. Um, so first and foremost, I actually really like this mechanic. I've played a few games that use cards. Deadlands comes to mind. There's a lot of games out there that use cards, and I think this system is pretty like just the card mechanic itself with rolling for stuff feels pretty intuitive and makes sense.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, me
I
too.
had fun with that. Like there were several times where I was like, okay, well, I want to do more. I want to do this mechanic more, which was really satisfying and kind of cool because we play a lot of games and sometimes skill checks are something you have to get through and sometimes they're something you look forward to.
Yep.
It's funny playing a game that takes place in this time period with 2 occultists and 4 anti-racists.
Well, it's also funny because if you look at Ivan's character, he's a member of the Golden Dawn.
Mm,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, which there's some emotions there for sure.
Our
Uh
the history is always terrible when you look at it, and it's hard to confront the ghosts of the past, and um, it's just unfortunate.
Aleister Crowley was especially a fun figure to me because so much of I believe so much of his work can be boiled down to how about you drink some semen?
I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, or eat little cakes, calamus
Yeah.
root and ejaculate.
So so
You bet.
uh
Yeah.
yeah,
I think everybody ought to eat more semen. So yeah.
and in my opinion, like if you wanna do.
Well, I mean, when you're reincarnated from Horus, maybe then you can tell people whether or not they should eat semen. And
I will be
Sorry.
outside. I will be outside my local church with a big sign that says "Eat more semen" this Saturday. Anyway,
That's great.
so anyway, that's my impression. That's kind of what I want to mention. There were okay. I will say, there were lots of bells and whistles that kind of went over my head when we were first talking about this. I feel like there's a lot of stuff I still don't kind of grok as a player, but mechanically, that was fun, and that's what I have to say about it.
Yeah. Content wise, we talked about Blavatsky, we talked about some of that stuff. That's probably a topic for another day, but just in terms of the atmosphere, the factions, the idea of a cult association that's made up of a lot of different immigrant groups and a lot of different economic backgrounds, and the fact that your immigration status and your economic background are part of your character's backstory, I think is really cool, because I think that class is something that is too often left out of games. And I also I just love a secret international league of whatever. Like I'm
Of
very into
gentlemen.
that. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if you've read the actual Alan Moore books that the terrible movie's based on, like they're fucking amazing. Like he love him or hate him, like he really does his
There's a
homework.
movie. I'll have to check that out.
Love him
there's
or
a
hate
movie
him, he
that has
really
the same
does his
title.
homework about the occult, Alan Moore. And like that's especially like I don't know. I understand why he's so mad at Hollywood and always hexing them because some of his best books have been turned into like the worst movies. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I think that the Poe feeling, the American Gothic feeling is very nicely captured. There was something like, even though it's not American Gothic, there was something very like Mrs. Havershammy about that scene in the tower. I loved that. So, cool beans. Well done, Nepenthe Games. I hope that's how you say that.
You can call him Ian. It's one of us fellow
Well
Ians.
done, Ian.
Absolutely will not.
No ice cream
You
for Ian.
know, Ian's have got a bad reputation right now.
Well, it's
so I think
right
we-
lately, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
of you.
The Council of Ian is full of nothing but Ian Hurricane references right now.
Yeah, the Council of Ian. I love it.
No, there is a Council of Ians.
I think that's great. There should be a
Yeah.
Council of
And there's a
Charleses.
Republic, but we don't talk about
Ah,
that. Anyways, any thoughts from you, Mr. Paschke, before we conclude our evening?
Yeah, I got nothing.
I mean, that's fair. You don't always have to.
Well,
So, with that in mind, we argued long and hard about spooky season. But I will say, as the owner of a horror publishing company, we are well and truly into spooky season, as far as
Okay,
my
fair.
ability to keep up with things is going. So this is a little bit of Madness Heart Press news, but we are releasing Warlock Infernal in just a few days, y'all. That is the newest book in the City Infernal series by Edward Lee. This book is not by Ed Lee, it is by Christine Morgan, who took the mantle over with her last book, which was a Spider-Punk award-winning novel, Lake House Infernal. I'll
We're
tell you,
incredibly excited about this one. It's really cool.
when she sent this to me, I got through the first 2 pages before I sent my acceptance, because it was just so good. So we have that. Max Bauman's The Mummy of Canaan is coming out on October 6th, just in time for Sukkot, which is the holiday where you sit in a little tent and eat your meals. So you can buy that book and read your little Jewish horror book in your little tent and eat your little meal. And we are also re-releasing Tamika Thompson's Salamander Justice, new cover, new spit, new shine. It's going to be glorious. And that's just the next 30 days. So things are getting crazy.
Wait, what about that Mook
Never heard of it. Never heard of Morkborg. So if you are on Twitter, Morkborg was trending earlier today, and that is in small part due to an announcement we made. Madness Hard Games is pleased to announce that working with World of Game Design, we are going to be publishing the first official third-party content Morkborg novella, Whispers of the Dead Saint by John Baldisberger.
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah,
Heard of him
he's
too.
I know
pretty
who
popular.
that
Sure,
is.
I'm kidding.
I've never heard that name before.
So what's cool about this book, on top of I wrote it and I'm a fan, is that Johan Noor, the artist for Morkborg, designed the cover. He drew every part of it. Pelle Nielsen, who is the original author of Morkborg, is writing the foreword for the novel. It's really cool. Simone Timeta, who does a lot of our art for our game stuff, is doing interior art. There's going to be a class based on the protagonist. There's going to be new equipment you can play in your game. So it is compatible with Morkborg. It's really cool, and it's a cool first step. I've had a blast writing in the IP of other people and swimming in a shared world. I hope I get to do more of it. But that is now the notify upon launch. The pre-launch page is now live on Kickstarter, so you can find that on my Twitter at www.twitter.com/kaijupoet. And if you click notify upon launch, it helps me out a little bit.
We've
Do it.
also
So
got
there's that.
announcements on all of our socials, like
Yeah.
Wandering
Yeah, it's a big.
Monster, MHP, Madness Art Games. Yeah.
Facebook.
So this you can't actually see the campaign yet, but I will say the final stretch goal of this campaign is that both myself and Zach Goins of World of Game Design are going to get Morkborg tattoos
Nice.
if we hit that final stretch goal. So
You guys
if
doing
you want
the
to see me,
knuckle
no,
tat?
I'm going with the calf tattoo.
Oh, cool.
Getting the
Yeah, yeah,
sigil.
No, the cover that Johan Noor designed.
Awesome.
So
Also, speaking of Kickstarter, don't forget to also sign up for the pre-launch notification and then also pledge for Nevermore. You can find that if you just search Nevermore RPG, you will find it is one of the first results to make it easy if you don't click all the links we send at you.
absolutely. Like I said, I had a blast, and give me 1 second, and I will sign. Oh, before I do this next thing, friends, if you go to www.wanmoncast.com, you go to a website. It has articles and reviews of tabletop games where both Charles and I kind of go in depth on how we felt about various games. Uh, it has all of our socials, all of our websites, everything. If you want to read a book by Charles Goddamn Bernard, you can do that. He has books that you can buy and then read. If you want to read some of my books, again, find a therapist that isn't Ian. But my books are also available for you to buy and read. So do all of that. Friends, thank you so much for joining us on this consensual journey we call Wandering Monster. My name has been John Baltusberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
Ian Servas.
Pashke.
And this is Beans. We'll
That's
see you next
Beans.
week.
Ah.
Oh, I heard
Now I'm in charge of sending this out, and I can just hold this as long as I want.
No,
Well,
keep
we'll
that
keep
big
doing
Beans
it.
dancing.
Look at that dog dance. I
She's
still
biting
have
me.
she's biting you.